Hey there, boys and girls. Cursed Curator here, more lovely content. Today we're covering Curations Art Rewind 1910. So I've noticed in the last few past few videos I did, like be it from just a few days ago to a few months ago, my audio was kind of low. I didn't realize this. So my apologies for that. I won't be redoing those videos. Obviously, that's a lot of damn work. But now I bumped up a bit. It should sound better. But let's hop right into our first lovely piece, the tree. Gleezes. I think I said that wrong. The tree, or L'Arbre, I don't speak French, is a painting created in 1910 by the French artist Albert Gleezes. Executed in an advanced proto-cubist style. The work was exhibited in Paris at the Salon des Indépendants, 1910, number 2160. The following year, Gleezes chose to exhibit it at the Salon de la Section d'Or, Galerie La Beauté, 1912, number 34, in Mainz Moderne SVU, Vystava, Prague, 1914, number 33. The painting was again shown at the Grand Palais Salon des Indépendants, Trent, and des Arts Independent. Oh man, I'm butchering this like crazy. In 1926, L'Arbre, an important work of 1910, appeared at the decisive Salon des Indépendants of 1911, where Cubism emerged as a group manifestation and spread across the globe, at times shocking the general public. Okay. Oh yeah, I love butchering things. Don't you guys too? The tree is an oil painting on canvas with dimensions 92 by 73.2 centimeters, or 36 blah blah. I I'm I realize I hate saying all this, but sometimes it has to happen. Signed dated Albert Gleezes, 10, lower right. Gleezes practically subjugates the tree in the foreground, its thin trunk slightly off-center and foliage cropped at the top, to a secondary role within a meticulously geometric worldscape. Here, the receding landscape marked by protruding hills and steep cliff-like formations is perhaps more naturalistic than the core group of Gleezes. Subsequent 1911 to 1912 landscapes, e.g., Le Chaman, Passage et Madon, 1911, and Las Bognos, the Baffers, in 1912, yet does not replicate any other known painting or specific location in any of its parts. This fact strongly points towards it being an invention born out of Gleezy's studio. I mean, it could always be a case where he just went outside, found a random ass tree, and yeah, this is it. This is a tree. Lee's method was fundamentally sympathetic, although the landscape seems persuasively realistic, with its foreground, background, and village in between. It is not an existing place somewhere between Paris and the studio. At Corvée, consistent with Glee's method of bringing together various elements from different locations anteriorly observed in nature. The superposition of hills with a succession of brown, gray, and white plains throughout this painting, providing a sense of temporal duration and spatial extension to the immense vista, along with the cubic architectural structures cutting through the center of the canvas, with its own perspective, are very typical of the core group of Gleezy's landscapes. The divers and elements are combined in such a way that avoids symmetry, a characteristic found in several of the artists' landscapes painted before and after L'Arbre, each a unique creation. Daniel Robbins, writes of the tree, L'Arbre, and related works in a catalog of Gleezy's retrospective at the Guggenheim, New York, 1964. In his work, one of Gleezy's most important paintings of the crucial year 1910, we see the artist's volumetric, I cannot word sometimes, approach to cubism, and his successful union of a broad field of vision with a flat picture plane. Earlier studies, such as the By the Seine, Bord de la Seine, Meudon of 1909, and The Road, Trees and Houses, Environs de Meudon of 1910, both in the collection of Walter Firpo, clearly anticipate this development. During his trip to Balenas sur Bajori, Gascony, in 1909, Gleezy concentrated exclusively on landscapes, reducing natural forms to primary shapes. His efforts to portray the complex rhythms of a panorama resulted in a comprehensive geometry of intersecting and overlapping forms, which created a new and more dynamic quality of movement. his 1911 Passage et Madone followed, in which man is reintroduced but is subordinate to a heroic concept of landscape, which simultaneously comprehends the close and distant, the Earth's curve, the sun, and even the force of the wind against trees. Robbins, 1964. 1910 in brief. Once again, I need some water. Oh my lord. This is a long one, but a necessary one, because that's like one of the most important pieces in 1910, of course. I will say, I had to glance back at, what I was doing from back then for the video that I did in 1910, which is covers all the 1910s. I had to make sure I wasn't doing the same damn things, so my apologies, you see the same thing happening here. After painting a series of pictures, some of which are still in existence today, also dissatisfied and yet better prepared for experiments that would go deeper. It was in 1910 that, for the first time, I showed in the Salon des Independents, completely abandoned the Salon the National, where there was nothing more for me to do. I sent to the Cours de Lorraine a full portrait of the poet René Acros, as well as 2 landscapes of the area around Paris, simple collections of masses in restrained colors. From that moment onwards, I can see it clearly now. My researches passed from the surface to the interior of the plastic problem. So 1910 brought another white stone to my life, as it would mark a stage to which, if it was not conclusive, would at least be very positive. Above all, in the second half of the year, when I painted the canvases which would appear in the Salon des Independents of 1911. Galizes met Jane Metzinger and Robert Delaunay in 1910. Through the Alexandre Morscanu, I cannot word this shit, gang, but had only vague knowledge of the work they showed at the Salon des Independents that same year. Glizes, too, has exhibited at the same salon. Most importantly, Glizes had read an article which had struck him, written by Jean Metzinger for the young literary review Pan, run by 2 young poets, Marcel and Jean Clary. The anti-Hellenic concept of representing a subject from multiple points of view was the central idea of Jean Metzinger's Note sur le Patrouille article of 1910. It was at the Independence of 1910 that Metzinger showed a portrait of Galamon Apollinaire, which Apollinaire, in his book The Cubist Painters of 1913, claimed was the first Cubist portrait. Glazes continues writing in his souvenirs. Oh man, I'm butchering the French language so hard right now. It's okay. It was expected. 1910 was the year in which, in its last months, a more or less coherent group began to form, from certain tendencies, which were quite clearly present in our generation, but had previously been scattered. Painters saw what they had in common, poets joined them, and feelings of sympathy were established. A general atmosphere began to form, which would soon produce an action, whose effects were to be quickly felt in the surrounding world. Painters and writers would support each other, moved as they were all by a single faith. Albert Glizes, Souvenirs. I'm not reading the exhibitions here of the literatures. I'll quickly be slow with it, so you guys can, of course, take a gander yourselves if you're curious. All right, back up here to see the piece. So, seeing the piece off riff, I can see what's going for. I like how clearly these are buildings. This is obvious. These shapes here are buildings. This is another tree of some sort. Like right here, that's some more foliage. That could be foliage too right here. Here is an obvious tree. It's our centerpiece. I really like this. It kind of reminds me of some art. Yeah, you could see some of the older TRPG books. I really enjoy this one. One day I have to make a video on all my favorite art pieces, because I do have a number of pieces I actually do really enjoy and love. That of course they're from different years I've actually not covered yet. Most people most art that I actually like is from the 60s. So that's a fun little thing about me. So let's go to our next piece. July 14th, Rue Danu, 1910. July 14th, Rue Danu, 1910 is an early 20th century painting by American Impressionist Childe Hassam, done in oil on canvas. Painting depicts the celebration of Bastille Day in Paris. It is now in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Description: July 14th, Rue Danu. I'm saying that wrong, aren't I? 1910 depicts the celebration of Bastille Day from the artist's point of view, viewpoint on top of the Hotel Empire. in Paris. The street below is thronged with automobiles and people, while flags of France, Belgium, and the United States are flown on various buildings. The Metropolitan Museum of Art considers a painting to be a precursor to Hassam's famous flag series. And let's take a gander at this one. Ooh, this looks really cool. So we see Belgium. Okay, I'm gonna say, like, where's the United States in this? So, like, over here you can see it, and over like here and here, it's mostly like French and Belgium, and okay, and obviously it's not a German flag, but it's kind of like, at first I'm like, is this like Poland or the German flag? But no, it's a little hard to see sometimes. But overall, this is a really good piece. I dig it because, you got the people here too, like the vague shapes of humans. Like, this is obviously people. Oh my lord, this is really cool. So here is another one. This is gonna be a fun one. Portrait of Mink with Violet Shaw. Portrait of Mink with Violet Shaw is an oil on canvas portrait by German painter Max Beckmann. It depicts his first wife, opera singer Mina Beckmann Tube. It was executed in 1910. It is held in collection of the St. Louis Art Museum. So, like, when I see the word executed, I think she got executed. Executed, dude. Like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Description and analysis. The painting depicts Mina, also known as Mink, seated in a chair, wearing a black dress and a violet shawl, covering her shoulders and arms. Her hands folded while she looks quietly to her left. The background appears in a bluish color. The portrait was executed during the painter's 20s, when he was openly critical of more modern contemporary art tendencies, such as expressionism, Fauvism, and Cubism. Beckmann still follows the German Impressionism, reflecting the influence of Max Liebermann, in particular in his sober tonalities without his brushwork, or the brilliance of Lovis Coneff. His style is more conservative, still close to realism. Provence. The painting was bequeathed by Morton D. May to the St. Louis Art Museum in 1983. Ah. I see her face and, like, who the hell just farted? That's all I get from this face. All in all, I'm digging the shawl. The shawl is really nice. I also like the background. There's like these paintings inside this game called Dishonored. It reminds me of Dishonored paintings in the first game, where we see, we can say, wander around the castle, like, at certain points in the series, and I thought that was kind of cool. It really reminds me of that. So let's go to our next lineup of paintings. Or rather, excuse me, sculptures. We have sculptures. That's all left. All that's left. Excuse me. Okay, water time though. For a second. Oh boy, oh boy. Equestrian statue of Kazimir Pulaski. General Kazimir Pulaski is a bronze equestrian statue of Kazimir Pulaski, a military man born in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. He joined the military at a young age, fighting for removal of the king, who was backed by Russia. After his side lost the war, he fled to Paris, where he met Benjamin Franklin. Impressed by Pulaski, Franklin wrote a letter of recommendation to George Washington, suggesting he would be a helpful soldier in the American Revolutionary War. After arriving in the United States, Pulaski eventually was promoted to brigadier general and commanded a cavalry unit, the Pulaski's Legion. He died in 1779 due to injuries in sustained battle. Aw, sucks. In 1903, Congress authorized installation of a statue honoring two Poles who assisted in America in the war. Pulaski and Tadeusz Kozyko. I said that wrong, guys. I'm so sorry to my Polish viewers if I have any. The statue was allocated $50,000 for its creation and installation. The person chosen to sculpt Pulaski statue was Kazimierz Czarnecki, who was assisted by architect Albert Randolph Ross. The unveiling and dedication ceremony took place on May 11th, 1910, and was attended by thousands of Polish Americans. Prominent attendees included President William Howard Taft, who spoke at the ceremony, and Secretary of War Jacob M. Dickinson, who delivered a keynote speech. The statue is located on the eastern end of Freedom Plaza, near the intersection of 13th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, northwest of Washington, D.C. It shows a mounted figure of Pulaski holding the reins of his horse while wearing the Polish uniform. There is a large plaque on the base of a marble statue. The statue is one of 14 American Revolution statues in Washington, D.C. that were collectively listed on the National Register of Historic Places, or NRHP. The statue is also a contributing property to the Pennsylvania Avenue National Historic Site and the Elephant Plan, both listed on the NRHP. History. Biography. Woohoo! Kazimierz Pulaski was born in 1745 to wealthy parents in Warsaw, Polish Lithuania. Commonwealth, excuse me. By 1762, he had already joined the military. A few years later, Pulaski joined the other Polish nobility in the Bar Confederation that wanted to dethrone the king. Stanislaw August Pulaski. Oh boy, I cannot word. He was backed by Russia. During the war, Pulaski served as a cavalry commander. He was forced to flee to Paris when the Russians won the war. It was in Paris where Pulaski met Benjamin Franklin, who encouraged Pulaski to join the 13 colonies fighting in the American Revolutionary War against the Kingdom of Britain. Franklin wrote a letter of recommendation of Pulaski for George Washington. Not long after Pulaski arrived in the 13 colonies in 1777, he had a meeting with Washington, who was impressed by Pulaski and his military skills. Washington spoke with the Continental Congress, asking if Pulaski could lead the Continental Cavalry. Due to opposition by Congress, Pulaski worked with Washington as a volunteer aide instead. During the Battle of Brandywine in 1777, Pulaski was able to delay the British forces long enough for Washington and his troops to time to retreat. For his efforts, Congress promoted Pulaski to Brigadier General of the Cavalry. He eventually became tired of the cavalry he commanded, and after speaking with Washington, he formed a cavalry unit, Pulaski's Legion. Washington asked the Legion to guard Charleston, South Carolina. After seeing his talent, Continental and French forces were impressed. He later fought with the colonial and French forces in Savannah, Georgia, where he was mortally wounded in 1779. For his services, Pulaski is known as a father of American cavalry. Memorial plans. In February 1903, Congress approved 2 statues being erected. One for Pulaski and another, we already read this part. I'm not reading it again. Sculptor hire, I'm not reading this part again. You get the gist. Dedication. A day before the unveiling and dedication ceremony, the Polish National Alliance received a cable from former President Theodore Roosevelt, who was in Berlin at the time, stating, "Accept my congratulations to all Americans of Polish birth or origin, on dedication of the monuments to 2 great Polish heroes, Kosciuszko and Pulaski, whose names will be forever associated on the honor of the American history." News of a message from Roosevelt spread quickly amongst thousands of Poles and Polish Americans who had traveled to Washington, D.C. for the event. The unveiling took place on May 11th, 1910. The ceremony for Kosciuszko took place at 2:30 p.m. and one for Pulaski at 4 p.m. Prominent attendees included Secretary of War, I already read that part, so I'm not doing it again, who delivered a keynote speech at the Pulaski ceremony, and President William Howard Taft, who spoke at both ceremonies. A Pulaski's descendant, Francis Pulaski, who spoke at the second event, he said he brought to your shores his bravery and his military talents, and offered them for defense of your ideals and your independence. Taft accepted both statues on behalf of the United States. Between 2 events, the president and other officials watched an hour-long parade featuring thousands of people, including the entire District of Columbia National Guard, and members from Polish societies. The ceremony of Pulaski's statue lasted around an hour, and a banquet attended by Taft took place later that night at Raleigh Hotel. Later history. Wahoo! The statue was originally on a triangular park, Reservation 33, but was moved to another triangular park, Reservation 32, in 1931. It was moved back to its original location in 1958. The 2 reservations were merged in 1980 when Freedom Plaza opened. The statue of Pulaski is one of 14 American... I'm not reading it again. Read it earlier, buddy. Location and design. The bronze Pulaski statue is located on the eastern side of Freedom Plaza. The city's reservations 32 and 33, near the intersection of Pennsylvania Avenue and 13th Street Northwest in downtown Washington, D.C. It's a 9 feet tall, or rather 2.7 meters, and rests on a 12-foot tall, or rather 3.7 meters, 15-foot long, 4.6 meters, marble base. Pulaski is riding a horse which has its front legs raised, its front right leg raised while trotting. Pulaski, dressed in his Polish military uniform as a cavalry commander, is wearing a long military coat and a decorative hat. He is holding onto a horse's reins while his feet are in the stirrups. The statue is resting on an oval base adorned with foliage and menadros. There are 3 steps surrounding the base. Inscriptions, my favorite part. Inscriptions read, base left side, brandy wine. Valley Forge, Egg Harbor. Base, back rounded in. Brigadier General U.S., Marshal General Poland. Base, right side, Charlestown, Savannah, Germantown. Base, front rounded in. Brigadier General, Casimir Pulaski, 1741 to 1779. Fell in battle at Savannah. Base plaque. Brigadier General Casimir Pulaski, 1748. I don't know why I said freaking 14. 1748, 1779. The bronze equestrian statue of Brigadier General Casimir Pulaski portrays a revolutionary war hero in uniform of a Polish cavalry commander. Born in Wannery, Poland on March 4th, 1748, to a noble family, Pulaski gained prominence in Europe for his role in defending liberty in Poland. Excited by the struggle of the emerging American Republic, Pulaski joined in its fight for independence, arriving in Boston in July 1777. Pulaski was given a commission as Brigadier General and Chief of the Cavalry in command of all cavalry of the American forces. He was present at Germantown, Pennsylvania, and led his legion as Haddonfield, New Jersey, Egg Harbor, New Jersey, Charleston, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia. At Savannah, Pulaski was mortally wounded and was taken aboard the American brig Wasp, where he died and was buried at sea. On October 11th, 1779, he was 31 years old. The statue was designed by the sculptor Casimir Chadunsky and architect Albert R. Ross. It was erected in 1910. So there we go. I am struggling this damn video. I am struggling so hard. My apologies. But let's see this bad boy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's menacing. You love to see it though. I just love the effort put on the horse. They make the nostrils so massive. I kind of wish we had like some different angles, or maybe like a drone, you know, to show it off, like a bit more at the top to be more like eye level. But overall, this is really cool. I dig it. So this one should be a bit shorter, but first water. Benito Juarez Hemicycle. The Benito Juarez Hemicycle is a neoclassical monument located at the Amadea Central Park in Mexico City, Mexico, in commemorating the Mexican statesman Benito Juarez. The statue of Juarez is flanked by marble Doric columns. There are two allegorical female statues next to Juarez, representing the fireland and law. The pedestal bears the inscription Al Benito. Benito Juarez La Plata. To Spanish, to the I cannot say that word. To Notorious Benito Juarez, the homeland. It was printed on the reverse of the 20 peso bill of Series C and D issued in 1994. Oh wow! History. The construction began in 1906. Okay, that's a weird phrasing. The construction began in 1906. It marked the centennial of Juarez's birth. The engineers for construction of the monument were assigned by Porfirio Diaz. Statues were sculpted by Italian artist Hadrino Lazzarini. The monument was printed on September 18th, 1910. I need to log in eventually and fix this, because this is, oh man, it marks, or rather, you could say it marks. That'd be a bit easier to read off there. Style. It is neoclassical style, semicircular with the strong Greek influence. It has 12 Doric columns supporting an admiratoire and Frieze sculpture of the same order on both sides. It has two golden spikes. At the center is a sculpture composed of Benito Juarez, seated with two allegories, one representing the homeland crowning Juarez with laurels in the presence of a second that represents the law, and the basement has festoons. Another sculpture in the center that shares a Republican eagle with open wings in a facing, with Neo-Aztec frets, which lie two lions. On the central pillar there is a medallion surrounded by a laurel, inscribed with the following: For Victorious Benito Juarez of the homeland. I cannot word. Oh my lord. So let us see this. Oh my lord. This is really giving me that Roman Greek vibe for real. Oh, this is beautiful. We got the little lion down here. Oh, wait, you can stand on it? And you, oh wow, I like that. That's really cool. This is super cool, actually. And let's take a better look here. Oh, look at his drip. He has a little bow tie and everything. Literal drip. Okay, I like this. So here's the last one. Oh, it's the last one. Thank goodness. Statue of Francis Harrison Pierpont. Pierpont. Oh my lord. Francis Harrison Pierpont is a 1910 marble sculpture of Francis Harrison Pierpont by Franklin Simmons, installed in the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. as part of the National Statuary Hall collection. It is one of the two statues donated by the state of West Virginia. The sculpture was unveiled by Vaughan Thomas Condit Miller on April 27, 1937. The statue is one of three that Simmons has placed in the collection, the others being William King from Maine and Roger Williams from Rhode Island. And let's take a better look at this. I always love these in like marble statues. It is so clean. It is so clean. Very drippy. Very nice. Oh, it looks nice. But all in all, this has been a fun one, even though I have butchered so many French wordings, I have stuttered, I have caused so much undoable harm to your ears. But if you lasted this long, thank you for watching. please like. I'm already messing up. Please like and subscribe. I can word, I swear. Please like and subscribe for more in peace.